Hello, welcome. I am Jill Baird. Today we have a power vinyasa flow class. Okay, this is the third time I'm filming this because the dog has been going nuts. I'm hoping she will just go sit on the bed. This is Charlie, by the way. Say hi, Charlie. Hi. Okay, now go back up on the bed. For today's class, you just need a mat. If you have a block, you can have it handy. We'll use it a little bit for core, but you definitely don't need it if you don't have one. Let's go ahead and begin in child's pose. So come to a kneeling position. Bring your big toes to touch. Walk your knees out towards the wider edges of your mat. Sit your hips back onto your heels and then crawl your fingertips towards the front of your mat as you bring your chest and your forehead down to the mat. And take a couple of rounds of breath here just to settle in. Maybe wiggle your hips from side to side, finding that sweet spot where they rest comfortably between your heels. And if this is not comfortable, you can always bring your knees in together to touch, more of an embryo pose. And together, let's take a few rounds of cleansing breath. So a deep, full inhale through the nose, thinking of dragging that breath all the way down to the bottom of your lungs, feeling your belly expand. And then with an open mouth, squeeze the breath out, powerful exhale. Again, deeper, fuller inhale, drawing in even more breath than you did the last time. And draw your shoulders back and down into their sockets. And again, powerful open mouth exhale as you use the muscles of your front abs to squeeze the breath out of your body. And again, deepest, fullest inhale yet. Bringing in that breath until you feel like you cannot take in another sip of air. And then maybe taking in just a tiny bit more. And an open mouth exhale, letting go of not only that breath, but anything that is not going to serve you on your mat today. Anything that's weighing on your mind or anything that's waiting for you after you step off your mat, it can wait. So think of checking your baggage at the door like you do when you fly on an airplane. The only thing you need on your mat today is your body and your breath. Begin to seal your lips closed. Continue taking those deep, full inhales through the nose and continuing to exhale powerfully but with sealed lips and a slight constriction in the back of the throat, creating an audible, rhythmic, ocean-like sound with your exhale. Focusing our attention on smoothing out the breath, matching the count of the inhale to the count of the exhale. Relaxing your shoulders back and down towards your hips as you continue to relax your hips back onto your heels. On your next inhale, tent up onto your fingertips, pressing them into the mat, creating a little space between your elbows and the mat. And as you exhale, lift your forehead and thread your right arm underneath your left. So coming to rest very lightly on the outside of your head, on the right side, on your right ear and the right shoulder. Option to keep that left arm extended. You can bend the left elbow, bringing the hand to rest next to your face, or if it feels good, you can go ahead and take a half bind, bringing that left arm behind your back and hooking the left fingers at the right hip crease. With each inhale, think of lengthening your spine, and as you exhale, think of drawing that left rib cage open, left shoulder down and back even more, as your right ribs spiral under your body in the direction of the left side of your mat. And then once you find a spot where you feel that stretch, that twist, focus on that slow, steady breath. On your next inhale, unbind if you have the bind. Exhale, bring that left hand back to the mat. Unthread the right arm, sit back into your child's pose. Inhale, tent up onto the fingertips. Once again, guide your shoulders down and back into their sockets. And with our exhale, thread the left arm underneath the right, coming to rest gently on the outside of the left side of the head, the left ear, the left shoulder. And then if you took the half bind on the right, go ahead and take your right hand behind your back and hook it at your left hip crease. Inhale, grow some space along your spine, and as you exhale, guide that right shoulder open, right rib cage back, and the left rib cage spirals over towards the right side of the mat. Doing your best to keep that connection between your heels and your hips. And the most important connection with the breath, matching those slow, steady inhales to the powerful, steady exhales. And on your next inhale, if you have the bind, go ahead and unbind. Bring that right hand back to the mat, give a little press into it, and as you exhale, unbind and sit your hips back. Inhale, up to all fours, tabletop pose, organizing our joints here as we stack our shoulders over our wrists, hips over our knees. Toes can be tucked or untucked. Inhale, cow pose, melt your belly. Lift your chest as you loop your shoulders down and back into their sockets. And exhale, cat. Press the mat away from you as you tuck around and curl, drawing your chin in towards your chest, belly button towards your spine. Again, inhale, cow pose. Lift your hips. Draw your chest forward as you spread your collarbones wide. And exhale, cat pose, tuck, round, and curl. Maybe even press your shins into the mat as you guide your tailbone down. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. Think about pulling your belly button back towards your spine as if your belly button was that creating space between the vertebrae. Let's go 2 more rounds with your breath. Inhale, cow, using the full length of that inhale to come into the deepest expression of your cow pose. And exhale, cat, emptying out completely. One more round. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. Inhale back to your neutral tabletop position. Pull your belly button back towards your spine. Exhale. Inhale, go ahead and extend your right leg straight back out of your right hip. Heel in line with the glute, toes flexing back towards the knee. And exhale, drop those right toes over to the left. We're going to do a little bit of glute engagement here. Squeeze your right glute, inhale. And as you exhale, use that squeeze to rainbow your right toes over to the right. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze the glute. Lift, right toes. Find the left side of your mat for the floor. Inhale, press through that right heel. Exhale, squeeze the glute, lift, and lower. Inhale, breath here. Exhale, squeeze, drop the toes. Inhale, exhale, squeeze and lift. So keeping any rounding out of the low back, continuing to move with your breath. Inhaling as you lower. And exhaling as you work. So should be really firing up that right glute. Doing our best to keep our shoulders facing forward so we're not twisting over to either side. All the work is in that right glute. And now this time, as we drop the toes over to the left, we're going to keep the foot there. We're going to press the inner portion of the right heel towards the top left corner of the mat. And we're going to gaze back over our left shoulder to the inner right heel. So think about drawing your left shoulder towards your left hip, shortening that distance as you stretch your side body. And then inhale here, exhale, squeeze the glute, and then come back into a neutral tabletop position. So you can lift your wrists, wag your hips from side to side, and then let's reorganize the joints. Shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. Inhale, breath, extend that right leg, or left leg rather, squeeze the glute, and exhale, drop the left toes over to the right. Inhale, breath here. Exhale, squeeze the glute, rainbow the toes up and over to the left. Inhale, press the palms into the mat. Exhale, squeeze the left glute, drop the left toes over to the right. Inhale, exhale, squeeze and lift, toes find the floor. Inhale, exhale, squeeze, lift, and tap. Continuing with your own breath, inhale, exhale the work, squeeze the glute, lift and tap the toes. Inhale, exhale. Take a couple more rounds here with your own breath, pulling that belly button back in and up. And then after this next round, we're going to drop the left toes over towards the right, press the inner left heel forward, and gaze back over your right shoulder to the inside of your left heel. And again, think about left or right shoulder rather, and right hip coming closer together. One more inhale here. Exhale, squeeze the glute, lift the foot, and come back into a tabletop pose. If you'd like to press back really quickly, giving your wrists and your shoulders a break, you can do that. And then we'll come back up to a tabletop position. We're going to come into a hovering table, so tuck your toes, lift your knees about an inch off the mat. Steady your hips as you pull your belly button, squeeze your front abs, and we're going to tap opposite palm to opposite shoulder, keeping our hips as steady as we can. Exhale, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Tap right hand to left shin. Come back to that hovering tabletop, opposite palm to opposite shoulder, downward facing dog, left palm to right shin. We're going to flow here. Inhale, table. Exhale, shoulder tap. Inhale, table. Exhale, shoulder tap. Inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Palm to shin. Opposite palm to shin. Inhale, table. Exhale, shoulder tap. Keeping those hips steady. Exhale, downward facing dog. Opposite palm to opposite shin. Flow with your own breath. Inhaling as you come into that table. Pull that belly button as far back towards your spine as you can as you come into those shoulder taps. Exhaling as you lift your hips back, reaching opposite palm to opposite shin. We're going to do one more each side. Keep it even. to that floating tabletop, and exhale, downward facing dog. So if you'd like to shift into a high plank here just to create the correct space between our hands and our feet, you can do that. And then as you come into that dog, begin to just pedal your feet, wag your tail, any movement that feels good to you. The focus here is creating length along the spine, so maybe even taking a nice deep knee bend, pressing your palms forward and away from you to create that length along your spine. And then once you have that length, begin to straighten the legs, and then you can take a couple of pedals again. And then bringing our heels closer towards the earth. If your heels touch the ground, that's fantastic. If they don't, that's fantastic too. Ground your left foot. Inhale, extend your right leg straight back out of your right hip. Exhale, shift forward, come up onto those left tippy toes, right knee to right tricep. Inhale, extend the right leg. Exhale, shift forward, up onto those tippy toes, tiger pose, knee to nose. Create that cat in your upper back. Inhale, three-legged dog. And exhale, right knee, left tricep. So way up onto those left tippy toes as you bring that right knee to tap your left tricep. Inhale, three-legged dog, and exhale, low lunge. Step your right foot up next to your right thumb. Surrender your left knee down. Toes can be tucked or untucked. And inhale, Vinyasa, crescent lunge. So stacking our head over our heart, heart over our hips. Grow the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. Exhale, drop your shoulders down into their sockets. Inhale, lift up and out of your waist. And as you exhale, cactus your arms, drawing your elbows down into your side body. Inhale, create length as you extend those fingertips up towards the ceiling. Guide that right hip back. And exhale, cactus arms. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, crescent. Pressing that right heel into the mat. And exhale, cactus arms. Inhale, crescent. And exhale, windmill the palms down. Hamstring stretch. So sitting back, hips towards the left heel. You can even kind of guide that left knee back a little bit if you prefer. Think of growing your chest towards your right toes as you flex your right toes back towards your chest. Low back stays nice and flat and lifted. You can bend into that right knee as much as you need. You should feel a nice opening in that right hamstring. On an exhale, bend the knee, tuck the left toes, come back into that low lunge, gaze forward, inhale. Exhale, crossed forward fold. We're gonna step that left foot behind the right, come into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back, shoulders down away from the ears, and then exhale, fold in, melt your belly towards your thigh. So it should feel a really nice deep opening in the outer right hip here. Inhale to a halfway lift, uncross the feet, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise, Tadasana, mountain pose. Bring the palms up, tailbone draws down, and exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Thumbs through your third eye, through your heart center, palms to the earth. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back, fingertips to the earth or palms to your shins. And exhale, step back, high plank, top of a push-up for our first chaturanga. Inhale, shift forward onto your tippy toes. Exhale, pin the elbows into the side, hovering 90 degrees. Inhale, upward facing dog. Always can take that from your knees. And exhale, downward facing dog, or skip the vinyasa altogether. Ground the right foot, inhale, extend the left leg straight back out of the left hip. And exhales, you shift forward onto those right tippy toes. Connect your left knee to your left tricep. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, knee to nose, tiger pose. Channel that cat as you press the mat away from you. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, tap it, right tricep. So come way up onto those right tippy toes as you draw that left knee to your right tricep. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, low lunge, step the left foot to the left thumb, lower the right knee, and inhale, Vinyasa, crescent lunge. Guide the left hip back, press the right hip forward, and think about knitting those front ribs down and in towards one another. Inhale as you create length along your spine. Think about lifting your waist up and out of your hips. Exhale, cactus arms. Hug the elbows into your side. Lift your chest. Inhale, Vinyasa, crescent lunge. Stay nice and active in the core. Exhale, cactus arm. Inhale. And exhale, cactus arms. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, half Hanuman, hamstring stretch. So again, you can scooch that right knee back, straightening into the left leg, flexing the left toes back towards the knee as you lengthen your chest towards those left toes. Isometrically, think about guiding that right hip forward, left hip back, and then bending into that left knee as much as you need to keep your low back nice and straight and flat. If your shoulders have started to creep up towards your ears, guide them down and back into their sockets. And just think about breathing some space into the back of your left leg. Slow and steady breaths here. Don't forget to breathe. Exhale, bend the knee. Inhale, low lunge, gaze forward. And exhale, crossed forward fold. Step that left foot behind your right. Dive in. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. And then exhale, melt your belly towards your left thigh. Inhale, halfway lift, uncross the feet. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise, Tadasana, mountain pose. And exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, step back, Chaturanga. So think about shoulders drawing back towards elbows, elbows back towards hips. And then inhale, flip to the tops of the feet, upward facing dog. So spread those collarbones wide. Loop the shoulder blades in towards one another. Hips lifted off the mat, or thighs lifted off the mat. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg. And exhale, step your right foot next to your right thumb, crescent lunge. Release the left knee. Inhale. And exhale, palms to heart center, revolved crescent. So as you hook that left elbow to the outside of the right knee, press your palms in towards one another and draw your thumbs in towards your heart space. As you inhale, think about lengthening from the tip of your tailbone to the crown of your head. And as you exhale, loop that right shoulder down and back, and maybe gaze back over your right shoulder. Belly button pulls in, the right ribs are spiraling open, the left ribs are spiraling under. Inhale, come back through center. Exhale, sit back into that hamstring stretch. And this time we're going to stretch into our IT band a little bit by bringing the fingertips, all 10 fingertips rather, over to the right. So again, think about lengthening the spine, dropping the shoulders down into their sockets, and flexing those right toes back towards the knee as your chest moves in the direction of those right toes. Inhale, come back to your low lunge, tuck the back toes. And then exhale, crossed forward fold once again. Should feel a little bit more space in those outer hips. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold it in just a little bit deeper, bending the knees as much as you need here to be able to come into that comfortable forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, uncross the feet. Exhale, fold a little bit deeper, and inhale, root through the feet, rise up, Tadasana, mountain pose. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway, pull that belly button back towards the spine, and exhale, chaturanga from your knees or from your toes. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Create that length along your spine. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, step the left foot up to the left thumb. Low lunge, surrender the back knee, and inhale, Anjaneyasana, crescent lunge. Exhale, palms to heart center, revolve lunge as you hook that right elbow to the outside of the right knee. Again, dropping that left shoulder down and back into its socket, and then twisting from the mid-belly, keeping the low back safe. Guiding the left hip back, right hip forward isometrically. And then inhale back to center, Anjaneyasana, crescent lunge. Exhale, hamstring stretch, bringing all 10 fingers over to the left. Just feeling a little bit deeper opening in the outside of that left leg in the IT band. Pull your belly button back in and up. Inhale, walk your hands forward, low lunge. Lift the back knee, and exhale, crossed forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, dive it in just a little bit deeper. Inhale, halfway lift, uncross the feet, and exhale, fold forward. Inhale, root down through the feet, rise up, Tadasana, mountain pose, and exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, exhale, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, inhale, and downward facing dog, exhale. Inhale, gaze forward to your hands, and exhale, step your feet behind your hands, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And inhale, rise, Utkatasana, chair pose. So you can practice with your feet hip width distance apart or with your big toes touching. It's really up to you. If you have a tight low back, I suggest bringing your feet hip width distance apart. Sit your butt back. You can even put your fingertips in your hip creases to draw your hips back. And then inhale, chair pose. Gaze down to make sure you can see your toes. If not, imagine pressing your shins back. Gaze is forward. Exhale, palms to heart center. We're going to revolve left tricep to the outside of the right thigh, just like we did in that revolved crescent lunge. We come into a little bit of a balance here, so gaze down, ground the right foot, lift the left foot, and then gracefully, or not so gracefully, step the left foot back into a revolved crescent lunge. So reorganize if you need to, regroup if you fell out of it. No big deal, you just get right back in. We're in that revolved crescent lunge. And then inhale, come up, crescent lunge, palms at heart center. Extend the arms up into that full crescent lunge. And again, think of growing the waist up and out of the hips. And with your exhale, guide your left hip forward, right hip back. One more inhale. Exhale, open it up, warrior two. So we're gonna hold warrior two for a couple of breaths, making the adjustments we need to make to get into the posture correctly. So first of all, gaze down and make sure that you can see your right big toe. If your right knee is falling in, give a press into the outer right knee to draw it out towards the pinky toes. Then make sure you've got your heel to arch alignment, right heel intersecting the left arch. And then we want to draw the tailbone down and find a slight tilt up in the hip creases so that they draw up towards the low ribs. Relax your shoulders down into their sockets and lightly gaze out over your right fingertips. Inhale, lift your waist up and out of your hips. Exhale, sit a little bit lower. Inhale, star pose. Ground your heels, ground the pinky edge of each foot, and then open up your chest. Exhale, horse pose. Sit low into that plie squat. We're going to bring our thumbs to the insides of our knees. Take an inhale as you find length. And as you exhale, press your right palm into your right knee as you drop your right shoulder. Gaze towards the left. Inhale, come back through center. Keep your tailbone guiding down. And exhale, press your left thumb into the inside of your left knee as you drop your left shoulder and gaze towards the right. Inhale, back to center, horse pose. Bring your palms to heart center. Come up into star. And exhale, back to warrior two. We're gonna do a little dancing warrior flow here. So inhale, reverse warrior. Walk the left fingertips down the left leg or take a bind if that's in your practice. And exhale, extended side angles. Legs stay the same. Lengthen out of the right side body. Right elbow finds the inside of the right knee, or you can bring your right hand to your right ankle. Inhale, reverse warrior, slim it back. Exhale, extended side angle. We're gonna do that one more time. Inhale, reverse warrior, side body stretch, not a back bend. So my shoulders and my hips are all facing the left side of the mat. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, warrior two. And exhale, windmill the palms down to the mat. And we're gonna come into an easy twist. So left palm stays on the mat underneath the left shoulder. Guide the right fingertips up towards the ceiling. Lift the backs of the hips. Exhale, right hand down, step the right foot back, chaturanga, or downward facing dog. Stay for 2 rounds of breath in this downward facing dog, taking any movement that feels good in your body. Settling in, inhale, gaze forward, and exhale, step or float, feet behind the hands, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, and inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. So again, feet hip width distance apart, or big toes to touch with a sliver between the heels. Draw your tailbone down and back. You should feel your abs engage, and then bring your arms up, biceps in line with your ears. Exhale, palms to heart center, revolved chair pose. So right elbow to the outside of the left knee, thumbs to the heart center. Draw the left shoulder down and back into its socket, and then sit your hips just a little bit lower. Gaze down at your left foot, ground to the left foot, balancing, and then step the right toes back, coming into that revolved crescent lunge. So we want our feet hip width distance apart. Gazing back over that left shoulder if it's comfortable. Otherwise, gazing just towards the left. Inhale, palms to heart center, high lunge. Exhale, sit a little bit lower. Inhale, crescent lunge. So squaring our hips and our shoulders towards the front of the mat, scissoring the inner thighs by drawing that left hip back, right hip forward. One more inhale, lengthen your waist up and out of your hips. And exhale, open up, warrior two. So shoulders stacked directly over the hips, belly lifting up and out of the hips. Again, make sure that you're guiding that left knee out in the direction of the left pinky toe. So it's probably just in line with those middle left toes. The inner thighs are fired up like my feet are like I'm wearing socks and I'm on a wood floor. So if I'm not squeezing those inner thighs together, I'm gonna slip out and come into the splits. Gaze lightly out over those left fingertips. Loop your shoulders down into their sockets. Inhale, star pose, heels in, toes out, strong core as you lift your chest up towards the ceiling. And exhale, horse pose. Palms to heart center, guiding the outer knees out, tucking the tailbone under. Inhale, exhale, lift the right heel. Inhale, back down. Exhale, lift the left heel. Inhale, back down. This time on our exhale, lifting both heels, sitting a little lower as you continue to pulse those outer knees out for 3. Sit a little lower, 2. And 1. Big inhale, star pose. Exhale, warrior 2. Inhale, reverse warrior, option to take that bind. Exhale, extended side angle, lengthen out of the left side body. So left ribs opening back, right ribs spiraling, right ribs peeling back, left ribs spiraling under. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, extended side angle. Let's flow that one more time. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, warrior 2. Exhale, windmill the palms. And then inhale, peel open, simple twist. Exhale, bring that left palm down, step the left foot back. Inhale in your high plank, exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. Take a few breaths. Inhale, shift forward, plank, and exhale, slowly lower all the way down to your belly. I'm going to come into some passes here with the block. So go ahead and bring the block out in front of you. Bring it into your right hand. We're going to bring it behind us. Reach the left hand back. You can have your toes on the mat with your big toes in towards one another. If you want to up level it a bit, you're going to lift your feet off the mat. Bring the block back around. And we're going to switch the hands. And we're going to bring the block back behind us, lifting the chest. Inhale. Whoops, I keep running into the wall. Come back forward. And then exhale, swim the arms back. Last time in this direction, then bring those arms back out, and then exhale, We're going to switch, moving from the left hand to the right. Come back up. And one more time. And then go ahead and release the block. Bring your arms down by your side, bring your left ear down towards the mat, and just take a couple breaths here. Don't get too comfy. And then go ahead and bring your palms underneath your shoulders. Tuck your toes. Press up to high plank. Downward facing dog. We're going to work a little bit of our front core now. Gaze forward, walk your feet through. We're going to come up into a boat pose here. We're going to rest that block on our shins, reaching your fingertips towards your heels, drawing your shoulders down and back. Nice proud chest lifting up towards the ceiling. Take an inhale, grow length along your spine. And as you exhale, we're going to come into a low boat. Inhale, keeping that block steady. Boat. Exhale, low boat. So obviously you don't need the block here. It just creates a little bit of a challenge. Inhale. Boat. Exhale. Low boat. Inhale. Exhale. Do that one more time, hovering, keeping that low back glued to the mat. Inhale, grab the block. Exhale, come all the way down onto your mat. Lift your legs up towards the ceiling, and we're gonna scissor our legs as we pass the block, weaving it between our legs. Gazing towards your belly button, imagining keeping an orange between your chin and your chest. We're here for 8, 7. Lift the bottoms of your shoulders up off the mat a little bit higher. Last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Put the block down, hug your knees into your chest, find a little bit of compression, rock side to side. Go ahead and cross your ankles, rock and roll 3 times. And we will meet in downward facing dog. Always have the option to flow through a vinyasa as you come back into that downward facing dog. We're going to flow through our standing series one more time. Inhale, gaze forward, and exhale, step or float, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, and inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, revolved chair. Palms to heart center, hook the left elbow to the outside of the right knee, right thigh. And this time, option to open it up and fly. Maybe bring those left fingertips down to the mat. Balance on the right foot. Step the left toes way back. Revolved crescent lunge. Keep your arms the same. Come up, open arm twist. So guiding that right hip back, left hip forward. The fronts of my hips are still facing the front of the mat. And then we're going to come into exalted warrior. So bring that right hand to the back of the left leg. So now my shoulders are facing forward, hip points are facing forward as that left arm lifts. And I lift my entire waist up and out of my hips. So you can walk that right arm, or right hand rather, down the left leg a bit. Just depends on what feels right for you. And then inhale, crescent lunge. And exhale, warrior 2. Inhale, reverse warrior. And exhale, extended side angle. Option here to take a bind. So I will reach my right arm underneath my right leg and then clasp my right hand with my left. So if, when I do that, my shoulders start to hunch down like this towards the mat, then that's not right for me. But if I can loop both shoulders down into their sockets, spiral the right ribs under, left ribs open, then this is where I need to be. Otherwise, I'm in extended side angle with that right elbow pressing that right knee open. One more breath cycle here. Slow and steady. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, windmill your palms. We're gonna turn the right toes out to the right, an option to come back into a simple twist or to come into fallen warrior. So another T-band stretch for that outer right hip. Inhale, press into the left palm, lift the right hand, and then one more time, exhale, drop that outer left hip as you reach those right fingertips back towards the left toes, keeping the chest open. Inhale, lift, and exhale, windmill the palm, chaturanga, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. All right, we're gonna do that on the left side, and then we're gonna cool it down. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, step or float. Forward fold. Remember, if you're floating, we're landing with as little noise as possible, which means that our core is absorbing any shock, any impact. So if you have downstairs neighbors, they're not hearing a big thud. It's more like a cat pounce. Inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, palms to heart center, revolved. And then fly, opening up the arms, keeping the left shoulder stacked directly over the right. Lengthening along the tailbone. And then gaze down at that left foot, ground the left foot. Hover the right, using your core, step back, woo, revolved crescent lunge, and then inhale, come up, open arm twist. So shoulders stay stacked directly over the hips. My hip creases are facing forward. My left hip is drawing back, right hip is drawing forward, and then coming into exalted warrior, bringing my left palm to the back of my right leg. My shoulders are stacked over my hips, and now the fronts of my shoulders are facing the front wall as well. This is such a good opener for the front of that right hip flexor, and continue reaching those right fingertips up towards the ceiling and maybe crawling the left fingertips down the back of the leg. Sit a little deeper into that lunge. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior. And exhale, extended side angle, option to come into the bind. Reaching that left arm underneath the left thigh and clasping the right fingers behind you as you guide that right shoulder down and back into its socket, and your chest peels open towards the ceiling. So if any of this is compromised, including your slow, steady breath, we're not gonna bind. We're gonna keep that left elbow pressing that left knee out, and you're gonna do what's right for you. Because the point of yoga is to move and breathe in such a way that we help our body to continue to move for the rest of our lives. So if we're doing something that's not right, there's no point to it. Slow and steady breathing. And on your next inhale, warrior two. Exhale, windmill the palms. Left toes out towards the left. Peel open, simple twist, or fallen warrior. as you reach the left hand back towards the right toes. And then inhale, give a press into that right hand. Come back into that lifted twist. And then exhale, fallen warrior. Ooh, I'm shaking. Inhale, lift, and exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale to our final downward facing dog of our practice. Hopefully noticing how much more space we've created in our body. And hopefully noticing how much less racing our mind is doing than it was when we started. All right, go ahead and come down to sit on your bottom. And we're going to straighten our right leg, bend to the left knee, and then bring the sole of the left foot to the inner right thigh. Bring those arms up and pivot your chest towards the right toes as you lengthen and fold forward into Janu Sirsasana. So the left shoulder tends to want to creep up, so just make sure you level the left shoulder. And you don't have to reach for your foot. You can reach for your calf, you can reach for your thigh, whatever is right for you. And just like in that hamstring stretch at the beginning of class, I want you to think about flexing the toes back towards the chest and drawing the chest towards the toes. So you can stay here, or if you'd like a side body stretch, we're going to bring the right hand or the right palm, the forearm facing up to the inside of that right leg, and you're going to bring your left thumb to your left shoulder. Begin to peel open your left shoulder as you create space in the right side body. So I'm not hunching down, I'm actually creating a lot of lift and space. And then extend those left fingertips up towards the sky, and then option to reach over for the right toes. But I could reach my right toes, but my shoulders would be facing down towards the mat, and that's not helping me stretch. So the stretch I want is to draw that left thumb back and peel open my chest. So maybe once you're in the posture for a little while, you can begin to reach those left fingertips closer towards that right toes, the right toes. And then inhale, go ahead and come up. We're gonna keep that left knee bent, and we're gonna come up onto the left shin, and we're just gonna cross the right knee on top of the left, coming into cow face, Gomukhasana. So my right knee is stacked on top of my left. And then level one, layer one, we're gonna sit here, feeling this awesome deep stretch in the outer hips. Layer two, we're gonna continue to press our hips back as we walk our fingertips forward. So again, just breathing into that opening in the outer hips. Lengthening along the spine. Shoulders are drawing down and back away from the ears. And maybe you hook your chin to that top right knee, if you can do so without hunching and rounding. And then inhale, go ahead and walk yourself back up. Uncross the legs. And then maybe just kind of come back, windshield wiper those knees from side to side. Come back through center, extend the left leg, bend the right knee, sole of the right foot to the inside of the left leg, flex the left toes back towards the knee, reach the fingertips up as you turn your chest towards those right toes, and then exhale, hinge forward, Janu Sirsasana. So drop the right shoulder in line with the left. Press your chest forward as you hug your shoulder blades down and back. And then this left knee can be bent as much as you need. to keep a nice lift and extension in the lower back. So if your lower back is hunched and rounding, then we need to bend into the knee. And we'll still feel the same deep opening there, and we'll feel the same stretch in the low back. It'll just be a lot safer. So think about melting belly towards that thigh. And you can stay here, or if you'd like the side body stretch, you're going to bring your left forearm to the inside of your left calf, palm facing up. We're going to bring the right thumb to the front of the right shoulder as we guide that right shoulder open and back. Reach the right hand up towards the ceiling, thumb comes back, and then you can begin to reach over in the direction of the left toes. So again, I don't want to reach for the toes and compromise that opening in my chest. So keep that thumb drawing back, chest spiraling up towards the sky. And you should feel a really awesome opening in the right side body, low back. And then slow and steady breathing here as we just breathe some extra space into that right side body. And then when you feel even, go ahead and come up. Come up onto the right shin this time. Cross the left leg on top of the right. So the bent knee is on top of the bent right knee. And then you can kind of press into your heels, guide your butt between equal space between your heels. Sit up nice and straight and tall. Feel that opening in the outer hips. Layer one here. If you can keep your butt flat on the mat. So I think of like pressing my hips back as I walk my fingertips forward. I'm going to come into a forward fold, making sure that the shoulders stay nice and relaxed. And then just take some slow, steady breaths as you melt into that fold. And if you can hook your chin onto that left knee, maybe walk your fingertips forward even further. Just make sure you're breathing. Make sure that that breath can stay slow and steady, which signals to our muscles to relax. Continue pressing the hips back, lengthening the chest forward. And then when you feel even, go ahead and come up. Just gonna extend the legs long and maybe kind of shake them out a little bit. Sit up nice and straight and tall. Extend your arms, palms facing up. You can bend your knees if that's better. And then we're gonna use our core, create that C curve as we slowly roll back with control. Hug both knees into your chest, give a little bit of compression. Extend the left leg long, hug the right knee in. Draw your elbows in towards your right leg and down towards your right heel. And then left palm to the outside of the right knee as we come into a very gentle twist. So extend that right arm long, gaze out over the right fingertips. So the inner portion of my right foot is resting on the left side of my mat, well, on the floor on the left side of my mat. I'm not pressing down onto that right knee to force it down to the ground. I just want to make a nice gentle twist. And then very carefully come back to center. Neutralize your spine, hug both knees in. And then bring both palms to the front of the left leg as you extend the right leg, keeping that right leg nice and active, flexing the toes back towards the knee as you guide that left knee out and around your rib cage and in towards your armpit. Left toes are also flexed towards the knee. Right arm guides the left knee across into that gentle twist as your left arm straightens and your gaze is out towards those left fingertips. some slow, steady breaths here. Think about drawing your belly button up towards the ceiling. Should feel really nice in your low back. And then when you feel even, come back to center, hug the knees in, and come into a dead bugs pose, happy baby if that feels good to you, or maybe even you just compress your knees in towards your chest, a little love for your hip flexors. And then lift your head, forehead towards your knees. Take the deepest, fullest inhale you've taken all day. And the loudest, longest open mouth exhale, thanking yourself for showing up on your mat, for giving this time to yourself to move and breathe and reconnect. And then coming into Shavasana, corpse pose. Allowing yourself to be heavy, allowing yourself to completely let go and to just be on your mat. Returning to a natural rhythm of breath. Maybe give a little press into the back of your head, snuggle your shoulder blades in towards one another. And just be with yourself for the next several minutes. If you have the luxury of time, please stay in your Shavasana for as long as you can. If you're ready to move on, just gently begin to rock your head side to side. It's a little nice little massage for the back of your skull. Then begin to deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Find that good morning, good afternoon, good evening stretch as you reach your fingertips overhead. Stretch your toes forward and pull your belly in. And then draw your knee heels in towards your hips, bending your knees, rolling onto your right side in your supported fetal position. Head resting on that bottom bicep, top palm resting on the steady ground, steady earth. And once again, just thanking yourself for showing up on your mat, for creating this feeling of peace that we create when we breathe and move together. And then when you're ready, press up to a cross-legged seat, bringing your thumbs to your third eye center. And I want to thank you for practicing with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and you share this positive energy with everyone that you meet, doing your best to draw them into your calm rather than allowing the world to draw you in to whatever might be waiting for you off of the mat. Please join me again soon. Namaste.